Well, 42.13 is out. Here goes nothing, folks. Got our patch notes right here. As fate would have it, I believe I've scrolled through the patch notes. I've identified something that's probably going to change how the stat bar mod fundamentally works. So we're gonna have to disable that. So the simple stat bar mod, I'm just gonna get ahead of that now. I'm going to go ahead and disable that. My ugly face is in the way here. Yep. So we're gonna leave that one off. I'm gonna trust that my recolor mod is simple enough that I can leave that enabled. See if the music has been fixed. Alright, here goes nothing. This wasn't in the patch notes. Well, that's exceedingly unfortunate. Are no longer compatible. We back up our saves here. This is no problem. Look over the patch notes while we wait for this. This will probably take a metric amount of time. As you can see, it's a little, the text is a little bit small, but it's converting into a new save version. We're at 10,000 out of 425,000. That's going to take a minute. If it works, I mean, you know, we haven't had a warning quite as verbose as that one in the past. Save games are no longer compatible. All right, well, we're going to let the game tell us that. I'm terrified for the status of our save here. Now, that being said, I did read one of the dev posts saying that we can actually revert to 42.12. That being said, if it's broken, it's broken. It was a question of when, not if. We've already survived 3 updates, which is impressive in and of itself. So if it's broken, that's unfortunate, but that means we just start a new one. Removed crushed copper and iron ore from the game. Huh. Yeah, I mean, we backed up at every single possible interval. And I mean, you know, even the version that's converting right now, we have a backup of that. So like if this save that we're converting right now, if that gets broken, theoretically we could just take the backup of this save, bring it back in, and downgrade the game to 42.12. Uh, I don't think I would do that, to be entirely honest. I might do it as like a send off. You know, one final salute to Annie Mae in this lifetime before starting another one. I don't think I would do Annie again immediately because I kind of rotate between my characters. So we'd probably do a different character to start a new one. But yeah, that would probably be like a separate. Like I would probably just like make a separate video for that, where I would downgrade. Because I mean, you know, downgrading and then copying the save, that's a lot of stuff to sit here and watch. I would probably do that separately. We'll see. Nothing particularly big jumping out at me at the save, or I'm sorry, at the patch notes here. There's a couple of things that I saw that I was bitching about that for quite a while. Oh, you know what? Let's do a Control F for tobacco. One mention of tobacco. Fixed chewing tobacco not having defined stress reduction. So tobacco as a plant might still be broken. Let's try smoking. Smoking now reduces stress for non-smokers too. Smokers get twice as much stress relief from. Okay, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense. So this is something I was complaining about for a very long time. Ever since 42.13 dropped. Large buckets will be consumed when building forges. Cooked jars of preserved food that spawn in the world will take as long to get stale or rotten as ones that are created by the player. I don't know if this is going to solve the problem that we've run into where creating new ones 2 years in have instantly gone rotten. Don't know about that. We're going to find out. We never did get all the way down to Irvington to take a look at the NASCARs. I mean, when 42.13 dropped, I think that's when they added the race cars, and then the race cars. Well, we were at Louisville when that update dropped, and we've never left Louisville since the update dropped. Lots to do in Louisville. Slight discomfort to firefighter jacket and pants. That's gonna suck for the folks who really enjoy the bulky gear. Changed wash all others to wash all bandages. I still wish there was just a wash everything button. That would be nice for those of us who just like to fast forward through washing everything in everything that can possibly be washed. We are currently about a little over a quarter of the way through, so maybe like 2/5 of the way through the attempting save conversion. Although I should mention for anybody joining, just if you didn't see it earlier, we got an explicit warning: saves are no longer compatible. Uh, okay, we're gonna see what happens. I mean, if it breaks our save, then there is a rollback now. So yeah. Popsicle Freezer has the wrong open and close sounds. Chain link fence destruction and new sound effects. New sound events, rather. Fixed and angle-headed flashlight attached to Alice gear, allowing crafting and reading when... Number one fix is something I wanted, so there we go. I'm happy about that. Okay, so the new loading tips are funny. Keep accidentally shouting. You can change the key binding in the options menu. Thanks, game. Thanks. Turning on a generator indoors will make the fumes kill you. Bowls with fluids in them cannot be used to make salads. Howdy, howdy. Yep, I too hope the save makes it. We're about right about the halfway point on the conversion process here. Although I regret to announce we did get an error message saying that it's unlikely to work. But we'll let the game let the game error message us if it wants to. I'm not going to give up that easily. Ah. But if we need to start over, then I suppose we'll start over. Fixed wall SE sprites blocking access to containers. That's something I never ran into. Yeah, it did, yep. Generator's noise radius isn't reducing when surrounded by walls. Okay. So if you want to take your generator and surround it by walls, but not actually put a roof over it. I never even considered that. I guess that would be not a bad thing to do in your permanent basis. I believe when we logged out, we were inside of, so I always take screenshots before I close out. Yeah, okay, so we were inside of Jericho when we logged out. Now is that a bad thing? Jericho's got a lot of stuff in it. I've noticed that, well, I mean, if anything in the area is going to cause the save to break, Well, we're surrounded by all kinds of stuff. Don't know if that's going to be impactful. Oh, it looks like it's automatically creating a backup for us. That's a little bit redundant, but whatever. Ah. Okay, so here we go. Fixed crafting butcher cooked rat yields uncooked rodent meat? Huh. I was under the impression that we might someday get uncooked rodent meat from rats. That would be nice. Right now all we get is a skinned rat. You can't even add a skinned rat to a recipe, you can just cook it. Fixed to not being able to shoot animals. That was never a problem for me. I was successfully able to shoot a few rabbits recently, semi-recently. But, you know what? Now I can shoot them better, I guess. Fixed sheep losing milk on quit reload. What about cows? That was a problem that I always noticed, is that we lost, cows would no longer retain their milk reservoirs when you quit and reload. Looks like we're about 3/4 of the way through the save conversion. Getting closer to finding out whether it's going to work or not. I did post, so allegedly multiplayer is coming out with this build. I did post a link to my homie's Discord to see if they will take the bait or not. I highly doubt that even if they do, you know, if they're interested in playing multiplayer, it wouldn't be something we'd be able to do very often. My guys have already got they're doing a tabletop game every Friday night. And trying to get everybody together on a Saturday night or a Sunday night is a big ask right now. Maybe I could get them together for a weekday night, but again, you know, you're talking about guys in their late 20s and 30s. Trying to get everybody together on a weeknight is going to be a chore, and then a weekend night is a chore for different reasons. But I will try. I shall definitely try. And okay, so this right here, this is one of the reasons that I think our stat bar mod, which has worked thus far without any problems, I don't think it's going to work anymore because of these specific changes here. Added character stat class for unified handling of character stats. So basically what this is, character stat class, this is going to be an object that gets added to the player's character. And you have to pull this class out of the player's character and then read it, as opposed to reading directly from the player's character. So any mods that read stats prior to this update are probably all going to be broken. I wonder if I could fix that. I mean, I probably could. It's a question of could I fix that in a reasonable amount of time. That's a. I'm sure if I bang my head against it long enough, just like this zombie here on the loading screen, this would be me trying to fix a mod by myself. Namespaced resource system. Resource location registry to unify resource management. Over time, more internal enumerations and classes will adopt this system, allowing mods to register entries with their own namespaces, improving mod compatibility. Okay. That's a lot of jargon right there. Allowing jargon to jargon with their own jargon and jargon to improve jargon capability. Remove duplicated tiles. Well, we identified a couple of those. All right, we're coming down to about 90% here. Think an area is free of zombies? Shout to make sure. The loading tips are going to be they're coming together. Don't be paranoid and read that. Fixed lit candles not providing light. All right, folks, moment of truth coming up. $400,000 out of $425,000. I have very low expectations for this, to be entirely honest. Like I said, it was a miracle that we survived 3 major updates so far. We started on 42.10, and then we updated to 42.11, 42.12, and now 42.13. Well, the 42.12 had 2 minor version updates, so if you want it hard enough, you could say we survived 4, but in reality, it was just 2 major versions so far. I think my record was 3. I'd have to look at my my bases for that. Major changes. Oh boy, there's a big list. There's a big list. You know what? Let me go ahead and I'll post this in chat. There's a massive list. I couldn't tell you exactly what jumps out at me other than I went over a couple as we were talking there. But we're about to find out if we even get to continue playing our save. Here goes nothing. The save conversion is complete, and it is now loading. Clear your corners, rookie. Now, errors. I see errors in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. That's terrifying. Click to start. Error 4. Well, that's not good. Our character is broken. Everything is broken. Well, I regret to inform everybody that, yeah, this is it. I mean, obviously, look at our skill sheet. The skills got all reset, so. Let's take a quick look at Steam here. If we look at the properties under betas. Yeah, okay, so there's an unstable, and then there's a 42.12 rollback. Well, I think this means we're going to go to the 42.12 rollback. Or we could just start a new character. Do I have my coin? Hang on a second, I might have a coin. I have a coin. I'm gonna flip a coin really quick. Hang on. Damn it, my coin is supposed to be up there. I'll be right back. All right, so I'm going to do a coin flip here, and the coin flip is going to decide whether, you know what? There's no really solid heads or tails to this. All right, heads is the ugly logo, and tails is the ugly backside. Let's flip. Heads is going to be, we go ahead and create a new character. Tails is we're going to give Annie a send-off by rolling back to the previous version. And that looks like tails to me. Okay. All right, that means we're going to revert and see if we can't... we'll just do a world tour, see everything that we did, and then I shall probably create a new character. All right, so here's what we got to do. We got to go to betas, legacy 4212. It's sort of like this is actually my client gave me this. It's just a little thing with our contracts logo on it. But it does have heads and tails, so I was able to use it for that purpose. It's about the size of a poker chip. I don't have a proper coin anywhere that I could easily access. I think I do have some spare change in one of those containers back there, but I'd have to go digging. All right, so we're on 42_12 now. The game already created a backup for us, so I'm going to rename this to... I'm just going to rename that to end. And here goes. We're just going to give Annie a good send-off. I mean, she's done good things here. We've done good things. I always knew this was coming. It's kind of sad, but yeah. It is nice that the Indie Stone gave us a rollback this time. They don't do that every time. I'm going to update my stream title here. All right. Stream title has been updated to confirm that we have unfortunately had our save broken. Yep. I'm not sad, to be entirely honest. This is one of the best endings we could give her. Just to be completely honest, because I mean, Murphy's Law says we would eventually make a mistake, and now, well, maybe not. Maybe we won't make a mistake. But let's just recap our journey. We've had a very long one. If we take a quick look at our map, we can see all the progress we've made. We started in Riverside. That was a long, long time ago. We started in Riverside, and we did a map tour. Drove all over the map. I think our map tour followed this time. We started a map tour in West Point. Then we went to Muldraugh, March Ridge, Rosewood, Palace Lake, and then stopped in Jamiestown to lure some of the horde of the military surplus store down this road. And then we continued Echo Creek to Irvington to Ekron and then Brandenburg. And at that point, we had loaded so much loot that we stopped by Riverside for a loot drop-off. Then we went straight back to Brandenburg to hit the military checkpoint for our first round of military gear, some of which is still with us. I don't think we're wearing any of it now, but I mean, some of what we found we're probably ended up wearing now. And after that, we came back to Riverside to actually clear the place out, build our primary base, and spent a long time just kind of hanging around Riverside for a bit after that. And then we finally started actually going out and looting things, like Jametown was one of our first targets for more military gear. We did build a field base in Muldraugh, and then we came back later and lost that field base. I think we did a pass through Rosewood to loot the fire department and a couple of other things. We never cleared all of Main Street. Phallus Lake, of course, we hit that. I think, if memory serves, we actually did stay in Phallus Lake for a bit before going to Jametown and then Rosewood. But then, of course, we spent quite a bit of time in Ekron, the community college here, the Ekron Community College. We had a ground war over there for the all the books that it has. And then eventually we started hitting West Point, and that's when we started formulating the plans for our trip to Louisville. I think it was when 42.11 dropped that I started kind of accelerating my plans for Louisville, because I realized that the save breakage was on the horizon. Yeah. So, something I've been thinking about is how do we end her journey? Making our way across the 31 West Bridge here, that was something that I thought about, but there are nothing but zombies in this direction. On the flip side, we did make our own bridge. We made our own bridge here at Foxtrot. I feel like that's something we could do that would really send us off. We found exactly 2 broken katanas that are currently being used as wall decorations here. Got Meals on Wheels over here with an infinite amount of canned food or other non-perishable food. We've already got a roast hanging around. When it comes to goals that I never completed, nothing really jumps out at me. I mean, there's things that I wanted to do, but I mean, like, nothing I would consider to be a hard goal. Because, I mean, we've explored Louisville. All right, everything that was left to explore was basically just residential. And that residential was really just a search to find Longblade 5. I think we're going to take our best vehicle, the ambulance, and we're going to drive to Indiana. And we're going to, I think we're going to say she lived happily ever after at Riverside. That's what I think we're going to do. We're going to journey back to Riverside, and we are going to end Annie Mae's journey there. Because Riverside is where she lives. The mac and cheese wall, yep. We never did get to fix the mac and cheese. That's okay. We'll live without it. So what I think happened with our save game update is I saw 2 things that happened that would indicate that the save is broken pretty much forever. Most importantly is the fact that the map is broken. You see, if Annie herself was the only thing that was, I mean, obviously the character herself was broken, like her skills and stats and everything were broken, that is actually something we could spend about, I don't know, an hour or so in debug mode and actually fix. We could probably have fixed that in debug mode. If it was just Annie that was broken, we could probably have fixed her up. But it was not just her; it was the map. We could tell that just by looking at the place where she was. Yeah, there was no fixing that. So we actually visited Foxtrot somewhat recently here. Foxtrot was our point of ingress after, it was our beachhead, really. Our beachhead into Louisville. We are going to get a drink of water. And then we are going to take our custom road through Indiana to get back to Riverside. So this was our, we were going to build a custom base in the river here at Louisville. The only reason I decided against that was because I had found Jericho, and I had decided that Jericho was strategically worth building a forge inside of Louisville. So deep inside of Louisville, we found Jericho, and that was, I kind of came to the executive decision that that was going to be more strategically valuable than our little edge area here. And now, this is just something that I built to make it easier to get back to Riverside from Louisville. We've used this road a couple of times. This takes us off the edge of the map and into Indiana, which is, Indiana is on the other side of the Ohio River from Kentucky. So if you guys ever hear me talk about Indiana, that's what I'm referring to. I'm referring to the other side of the Ohio River in this direction from Louisville, which we're now crossing. We're about halfway across there. This is only 3 tiles wide, and I made it exclusively with dirt. As a recap for anybody joining, I regret to inform everybody that our update to 42.13 broke our save. So we have temporarily reverted to 42.12. And we are going to give Annie a send-off in our main base back at Riverside. Yep, so a very fun thing to learn is that part of the map here, when you go across the Ohio River, some of this is already here, some of it's already generated, but then as you get a little further beyond the edge of the map, it actually starts randomly generating terrain for you. So you can actually, if we wanted to, we could just drive infinitely in a direction, and the game would continue to randomly generate terrain for us. It's pretty cool. But, I mean, there's no zombies that spawn on this part of the map. Going in this direction, there's no zombies. However, if we were to do the same thing, if we cross the Clark Memorial Bridge over here, it continues to spawn roadway going infinitely in this direction, and it also continues to show zombie spawn points infinitely in that direction. So we're not going in that direction because there's a bunch of zombies and nothing to fight for. So we're definitely not doing that. But as you guys can see, I've chopped wood almost going in a straight line. But after a certain point, I abandoned trying to go in a straight line because it started being a lot more worth my time to just go around patches of trees instead of cutting straight through them. So eventually we're going to run out of being able to go in a straight line. We're going to have to start following the debris. Yep, the rest of the world is 100% wilderness. It would be really cool if they someday just added a procedurally generated town system. I don't know if they're going to go that far. It'd be cool if they did, but that's a lot of work. And already, I mean, the map that they have, the default map is just so big already that I feel like it probably, from the Andy Stone's perspective, it wouldn't be worth it. I think we're approaching the area. I actually put a little red X on the map. I put a little red X on the map when I stopped. Yeah, okay, so it's right up ahead. This little red X indicates when I stopped actually going straight in a straight line. And that's when this navigation process gets a little bit... See, there's a axe head on the floor right there that I broke. And that's when I started running out of axes, and I'm like, yeah, I will break all of my axes if I keep this up. That's when I started just not going in a straight line. And that's when this becomes more complicated. I have to look around for the debris trails now. If I didn't know better, I would say that some more stuff has grown. And that's unusual because I don't think we witnessed anything grow on the previous growth cycle. You know, you start to witness the growth beginning in like August, and then it continues until December. But in our second year, I don't recall ever seeing any. But in any case, we're just looking around for like, yeah, there's some down here. In the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's some debris. So I should have gone south. Now we just follow a little breadcrumb of tree debris here. Might have lost, there it is. I was just about to despair that we lost the trail again. Well, that would be a pretty good idea. See, we could just, if we just like took some more of this tree debris and just scattered it a little bit more, we would be a lot less susceptible to losing the trail. Now, in a perfect world, I would just do the same thing that I did with the riverway and just dig like a straight line of dirt, or just, you know, maybe a dotted line or something. I think we lost it again. That being said, we're basically just going in the same direction, and as long as we're not uncovering new territory, then we haven't gotten too far off track. Yep, see, I see a little bit more debris right there. Imagine trying to do this with a step van instead of an ambulance. It was actually a nightmare. Ah, there's some logs and stuff, so I should have definitely gone that way. But now we've relocated the trail. Now, after a certain point, the wilderness growth actually starts looking very different, and I never really did figure out why, but there's like an arbitrary line that we're going to hit, and that arbitrary line is where it just starts looking like, you know, like it's supposed to look like, which means everything is going to be covered with thick grass instead of just this really nice looking turf out here. Well, that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing, Pro. We're actually not in Kentucky anymore. We are now in Indiana. Let me take another quick peek at my map. We're getting much closer to the green line here. That little dot was where I was supposed to be, so we're definitely farther south. In fact, there's a little bit of debris to our left here that we missed. There we go. For anybody joining, welcome. We're going back to Riverside, and we're using a custom road that we built outside of the edge of the map. And the reason we are doing this is because our save is officially broken. It is only by a grace of the Indie Stone that they added a rollback branch. So we're back on 42.12 so that we can have a send-off for our character, a proper send-off. I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go back to Riverside and I'm going to bake our girl a cake. And, yeah, we'll call it there. I don't want to get too weepy over it. I mean, you know, this is, like I said before, this is technically one of the best endings that we could have. Because Murphy's Law would have eventually come back and hit us if we just kept trying to act as though we'll never make a mistake. But I have always envisioned Annie having a happily ever after moment in her main base in Riverside. And what we're going to do after that is I think I'm going to make a new character. I think that is what we're going to do because, I mean, you know, we can't play this one anymore. There was a part of me that was like, oh, maybe next time an update drops, maybe I will take a break from PZ. And to be entirely honest, there is a part of me that is considering playing 7 days because they just decided to drop an unstable, whatchamacallit, not unstable, experimental. That's what they do over there. They do the experimentals. So we did cross that green line, and this is what the wilderness generation system probably is going to look like going forward. I think that was what we saw before was a bit of an aberration. We are aiming for this dark X right here because that indicates the start of a proper trail where I've gotten everything out of the way. So we will need to divert a little bit further north here. The trick to getting through bushes like this is if you ever get to second gear, lift your foot off the accelerator for a brief moment, and then you'll go back to first gear. If it was possible, I'd just keep it in first gear manually the whole time. Now, regardless of what I do, I probably am going to start a new stream when I create my new character, because that's, I mean, unless I wanted to, like, you know, segment the clip, I think I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna start a new stream when I create my new character. So after we give our send off to Annie, I will probably just stop and restart a new stream there. And in the meantime, I should probably think about what character I'm gonna create. Since we had a death for Barb the Builder, I think it would be appropriate to leave her where she is. And we never really got very far with Nora the Explorer. I could do a new lifetime for her. Here's our road right here. This is our proper road. So we might roll Nora again. All of my characters have the exact same voice. I don't think I could ever do anything other than Kate, high-pitched Kate. But they at least have slightly different appearances. Alrighty, here we go. Now it'll get a little bit faster. This was a colossal project right here. The Indiana Bridge ×2. Alright. Now you got to be very careful when you're doing this because the water is treated as if it's a physically, like a physical barrier. So if I accidentally bump into the water, it's like bumping into a brick wall. It's a lot easier going in this direction though. The other direction, we couldn't align our front bumper with the dirt, but this time we can align our front bumper. Now this is interesting. I've never seen a zombie on this before. I think these guys might have followed us from West Point. And what really sucks is there's no way to get around them. We're gonna have to bumpity bump over top of them. Yeah, so here's West Point, and West Point has a lot of spawns in the river area. So we're actually going to have to kill all these zombies to get through. Yeah, Nora Robles is the name of our other character. And I just call her Nora the Explorer. So, you know, what, we can actually exploit the fact that we have our own little land bridge here, and the fact that it's only 3 tiles wide, and we have a shotgun. This is actually going to be very easy. Because they're going to keep hearing our shooting, and they're going to get on this 3 tile wide kill zone here. So even though there's a lot of zombies down there, this is actually going to be an easy fight, relatively speaking. Yep. This is a lot more than I was expecting, to be entirely honest. I was expecting like maybe a dozen or so. This is going to be painful to drive over, but I'll load. Damn, look at that. That's insane right there. I mean, for the edge of West Point in the wilderness, that's what we're looking at right here. This is just West Point. I've seen fewer zombies in the wilderness in frickin' Louisville. Let it not be said that we went out without a bang. Multiple bangs, as it were. I don't know what's going on with half these guys to the south here. They just, it's like they think they can't get to us, so they give up real quick. We're gonna have to put the mask on. For anybody joining, welcome. As a brief recap, I regret to inform everybody that Anime's save is officially broken by the new update. We just got very lucky that the Indie Stone provided us with a rollback version, so we are able to load her save for 42.12 with the rollback, and that's what we're currently playing. We're gonna give her a good send off. We're gonna bring her home to Riverside, and we're gonna have a good send off from there. But in order to get home to Riverside, we have to go across our bridge here to West Point, which has got an unexpectedly massive amount of zombies deciding to camp the bridge here. And that's what we're going to deal with now. And later this morning, we are probably going to go ahead and fire up a new save on the new version. And I think we're definitely going to do Nora Robles, aka Nora the Explorer. So Annie Mae gets to take a break from B42 shenanigans. I am quite curious to see what her total save time was. So what I'm going to do while this is while we're in the background here, I am going to fire up a count. Let's go to hotel footage, current PZ live. That was a frickin' deer, I think. Current PZ live. This is going to take a minute just to load the folder. Which is why I wanted to do that in the background. I think we've gotten everybody over here killed. So I'll go ahead and move up with the ambulance. This is our custom bridge across the Ohio River. The opposite end of it, we took a little shortcut through Indiana to get out of Louisville. And this leads us straight to 4th Street in West Point. Here's what I'm going to do, actually. I'm going to set my cruise control to 5 miles an hour. I have a theory that if you don't go very fast over things like this, it won't damage your vehicle as much. So we're going at the lowest speed that cruise control will allow. And I'm not hearing any noise. I don't know if that actually means that my tires take no damage from that, but that would be a theory that I should test someday, perhaps. Alright, so the rest of our little escapade here is just pretty much a straight shot down to 4th Street. Or at least it should have been. There's definitely more bushes. I want to say that the wilderness overgrowth system has definitely spawned in a few more bushes for us. But we are now in West Point, and since our destination is Riverside, we should probably take 31 West to get out of here. So if we turn north on Oak Street here and go past, take the 3rd left after this one. Sometimes when I'm visiting West Point, I would stop at my, I have a field base here at West Point. It's nothing impressive. It's just at the, that's the 2nd. The 3rd should be right up here. I do have I actually have a couple field bases here. But, like I said, they're just, places I would have to kill respawns around before I could actually make use of them. So we aren't doing that. We're just going to bail up out of here and go back to our home base in Riverside. And this is the bend out to 31 West. Okay, so we have gotten through West Point there. And we are now on our way back to Riverside. Now there's a couple of different routes I could take, but I'm gonna take the one that has the most real estate, which is just 31 West until we get to Crossroads down here. Then we just turn north at the Crossroads. Here is the Crossroads. Crossroads is just got a Spiffos and a clothing shop. A used car lot down there to the south, but nothing overly impressive spawned for us there. And now we are on our way north. I think we just need to take a couple of turns on this road, and then we'll be on quote-unquote Riverside Road. Okay, yeah, so actually this is Riverside Road. This is Riverside Road. We follow this basically straight up. Yeah, I mean, honestly, this will take us straight to KY 163. We are on Riverside Road. I will have taken this road multiple times to get back from West Point to Riverside, where my primary base is. Actually, I think this is... What are we? We're going to be at part 79. I think this would be part 79 of Anime's Journey. If I'm not mistaken. 80 parts. 80 parts would be a nice number. But, well, if we end at part 79, then maybe I'll make a supercut and call that part 80. But I was also trying to, something I was doing in the background here was firing up a... Here we go, we finally loaded the footage folder. 77 items in this folder because we're missing a couple. And that's going to take a minute to load the details tab of all of those parts there. Now the reason it's at 77 is because it's going to be missing one part, which was part... I don't remember which part, to be honest. I had a power outage. So that disrupted my local copy of the recording. There's rabbits on the road there. Rabbits on that particular area. I left the flesh of their fallen on the side of the road, and it still didn't deter them. 687 hours and 45 minutes and 12 seconds. So let's add to that about 3 hours or something from that segment that got cut off early by the power outage. So not quite 700 hours on Annie, but pretty close. Pretty close. It would be a fair estimation to say it was. We spent about 700 hours on this character. I mean, by the time we finish this, it'll be +1. But I don't know. That'll be pretty close. Pretty close. But this will be the first time that I've ever been able to end a character on stream here, and actually give them a good ending. I don't know if I would call... Okay, so the last time that I played Nora Robles, which is another one of my characters, last time I played her, I didn't give her a very clean ending, right? Because while I was playing her, 7 Days to Die 2.0 Experimental came out, and I started playing that, and I had convinced myself that I could jump back and forth between 7 Days to Die and Project Zomboid, and that proved to not be true. I was not capable of jumping back and forth, and by the time I came back to Zomboid, a new version had come out, so I just started a new character, and that's how Annie came along. But if anybody joining is not familiar, what happened when we tried to migrate our save here, this save, we tried to migrate it to the new version, and our character and the world was broken. And what I mean by broken was... well, Annie's, all of her stats had been reset. So all of Annie's stats were completely reset. Now that is not something that we couldn't fix if we went in debug mode and spent a little bit of time. I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. I got a little distracted there. I'm gonna blame that on this zombie. But we could fix Annie, and I could fix her. I could fix her, boys. If that was the only thing that had broken, but the map itself was broken. Like the place where we spawned into our base. Everything about it was broken, so that tells me that her journey is now over. If we get both her and her bases broken, yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine. I was prepared for this, mentally and emotionally. And I'm just really glad that we got to give her a proper send-off. It would have been possible, but very difficult to roll back 42.12. This will never not piss me off. That will never not piss me off. I sincerely hope that the new version has decided to stop giving... I mean, look at our hood. Look at our hood. See our hood and our windshield? Thanks to the rabbits. Thanks to the rabbits. We are now in cosmetic damage, which means we're below 50% integrity. Each rabbit is -5% up to 5% of your integrity. So some of it, yes, some of it was that you know, the tree we bumped into on accident, but no, most of it is the stupid rabbits. Okay, that was not supposed to happen. That was not supposed to happen. We actually got a fracture from that. That was a straight up skill issue. I need to make a splint like right now. Damn it. Not the best send off right there. Not the best send off. Honestly, I can't believe I did that. I need to drive more carefully. Okay, she's been splinted. I'm an absolute literal moron, but that's okay. We're just gonna drive a little bit more carefully, and we're not gonna let that happen when we start a new character, of course. I need to stop trying to brake. That's what I need to do. I need to stop trying to brake. If we see zombies, we need to just calmly go around them or go right through them if we have to. Fun story behind that truck right there. I think we're going to pass a zombie too. Where is he? There was a park ranger zombie somewhere here. There he is. That's Carl. He just likes to look at the trees. We've passed him like 16 times now. We're actually taking engine damage on the ambulance because of how much of a reckless idiot that I've been. Maybe I'm a little bit, I may have been a little bit presumptive to say that I was emotionally prepared for this. I might have been a little presumptive to say that. We'll make it. We will indeed make it. Now, when we get to Riverside, to our base, we might actually have to get out and do some fighting. That's okay. We're prepared for it. Alright, here's Riverside, and of course it's going to be full of respawns. We're prepared for that as well. We're just going to go around them, and we have a designated spot where we're going to get out and deal with any incoming. Thankfully, the injury we received during travel here is not going to affect our shooting, I don't think. If it does, well, that will be unfortunate. When I get back to base, I actually have a whole bunch of vehicles just laying around. If we have to kill a bunch of zombies, I'll probably just get into one of my other vehicles and ram a few. That will probably be the safest thing to do if we can't shoot. But I think we'll be able to shoot perfectly fine. Alright, folks, if anybody has not seen my base before in Riverside, it is a sight to behold. I put a lot of effort into it. In future versions of this base, I will definitely build it a little further into the river. But here is our garage. All these vehicles are full of replacement parts for heavy-duty vehicles. Everything on your left right here, just a parking lot of various things. The fire truck is a refueling vehicle the Corvette is towing. And here is the main structure. Very lovely, lovely place. 2 stories. I was considering a 3rd story. But let's go ahead and park the ambulance on a facing where I don't have to look at the destroyed front of it. And yes, if anybody didn't catch it, I did, unfortunately, take an injury on the way up here. So we're going to have to move a little slow. Just a little slow. Once we get upstairs, we've got our home theater, which is actually serving as a place full of drying racks at the moment, our hospital, which is where we will be spending a little bit of time recovering from this injury after the end here. And we've got our farm full of aminals in the back there. Lots and lots of aminals. Power has been activated. We would do some fall planting if we were in a situation to do so. But I would say our girl has earned some rest here. Not the best send-off, if we factor in the ride here. Definitely not the best send-off. But I could give you guys a little bit of a base tour. We've got our restroom and salon over in this direction. And our lovely kitchen over here. Now, the kitchen has a couple garbage bags full of preserved food on the ground. This preserved food is jarred stuff that doesn't have a freshness stat, apparently. I don't know how that works. I'm going to, seeing as this is the end, let's just go ahead and open up one of these and see what happens. It goes from, hey, it's fresh. Look at that. It's fresh. So we could actually use that jarred food. Put that in the fridge. Is the fridge running? Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, most of the base is self-explanatory. I mean, we've got a the workshop in the left side here, the top left side. We've got a water source. This is our privilege by building in the river. We could just leave a couple of water tiles open, and we can wash ourselves up. Believe it or not, this is not the first time we have had a fracture. We've done that before. The last time it happened, it was because we fell off of an upper level. I'm not sure what's going on with the mannequin in the center here. It looks like she's got a injury of some sort. Oh, there's a little bit of blood on the jacket itself. I can fix that. But yeah, we do have a set of mannequins with different armor types. The whatchamacallit, the Force Camo and the Law Enforcement Blue have got full sets of the bulletproof vest armor that you can build. But yeah, I think I'm going to take a couple screenshots of our base here as a form of eternalization. And also, because the walls make it hard to see, we'll go down here to the bedroom area. And take another one there. And then we'll go upstairs and take one of the, is there somewhere that I could put these racks, these drying racks? Probably. Let's see if I can pick these up, because these are kind of cramping my style here, as it were. Oh yeah, I could just put them right on the floor there, out of the way. See, when we were last drying crops here, it was 42.11 still. And in 42.11, there was not yet the ability to dry multiple crops at the same time on the same rack. So what we were doing was we had 5 racks, and we were drying 5 herbs at a time, one on each rack. As silly as that sounds. An entire rack could only fit 1 herb. I'm very glad that that era of Project Zomboid is over. But now we've got a nice, wide open home theater. We've got a conservatory. And the conservatory, I have been looking forward to checking to see if we have any, we've got electric guitars in just 1 color, I think. we've got electric bass in all 3 colors, but only 1 color of electric guitar. So I was correct. I was correct to set aside when I found a couple of electric guitars back in Louisville. It's correct to set that aside. But otherwise, we've got pretty much every type of instrument that you would ever want. We even turned our banjos into a wall decoration. The water supply out there, I never even bothered to check, but I'm pretty sure everything is 100% full. And we've got our booze selection up here. Lots and lots and lots of booze. So much booze that we stopped being able to fit it on the shelves, and now these are boxes of wine up here. We ran out of storage space for soda downstairs, so we've actually got some soda up here that we're storing in next to the liquor. Soda from mixers, if you want it that way. But yeah, I want to say that our bass is very lovely. Now, one project that I had in mind that I never actually got around to even starting, let alone finishing, was a cenotaph. For a very long time early on, I called it the epitaph. That was actually incorrect. An epitaph is an inscription that you usually put on something like a headstone. A cenotaph is what I was thinking of. A cenotaph is just basically a wall of names of folks who passed because of a tragedy. And what I had been doing is collecting name tags and business cards and credit cards, anything that has a name on it. I would collect from people in Riverside. So basically almost every single time I killed an initial spawn of Riverside, I would take their name card and I would put it on this in this container over here. So this container is like 63 encumbrance of nothing but name tags, ID cards rather. ID cards, speeding tickets, badges, dog tags, postcards, pictures, photos. There is a garbage bag here. These are all photos that I found of photos of people in. Oh, this is Moldy. This is Muldraw right here. So I could make a separate epitaph. Now I was less diligent about collecting all the stuff in Muldraw, but otherwise everything here is from Muldraw. We have every single book imaginable. Almost every single book imaginable. We never found Longblade 5. We never found Longblade 5. We have a couple of volumes of Longblade. We actually should have brought back with us. Yeah, we should have brought back a couple of books that we found in Louisville. We should have brought those back with us. Alas, I forgot to do so. That's okay. I'm not 100%... I'm not like... I must have a 5-book collection of everything. No, that's all right. We know we have it, and that's important enough for me. What else do we have? We've got a dyeing station here. This is where we found dyes for both clothing and hair, and we just separated them into different containers for different colors. So we could make any color of hair dye or any color of clothing dye that we want, which is fantastic. I'm very proud of that collection. Got an exercise room. This is where we got our strength level 10. That was a lot of push-ups to get through, but we got it. I might do that earlier on in future runs, because in future runs, I'm going to make a very similar character build. I don't know if I would change anything about our build. When it comes to our build, I think we did perfect. I mean, it's as silly as that might sound, because, I mean, nothing is perfect. I honestly feel like we did as good as I can get for my playstyle. So I'm really happy with the build. I think I'm going to do that again. But I do think that we are ready to bid farewell to Annie here. She has done a very, very good job. She's been very patient with us, especially with how annoying I have been putting her constantly in many sort of situations. Our total time survived has been 2 years, 2 months, 3 days, and 23 hours. So we'll just call that 2 years, 2 months, and 4 days. And we just crested the 50,000 kill mark. We definitely crested that a long time ago, because right now, remote explosives don't count towards your kill count, or your kill total. And as you can see from one of my most recently posted screenshots here, every single one of these piles of bodies here, these were all remote bombs. Remote pipe bombs, as it were. So, however many thousands and thousands of zombies we killed with pipe bombs, they are not being counted in this total right here. But, yeah. That was Annie Mae, folks. I think we did great. And I look forward to seeing how Nora the Explorer progresses through 42.13 and onward. Now, how am I going to do this logistically for my streams? I think what I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and end Annie's save here. We're going to quit the desktop. And I'm just gonna call it, whatchamacallit. Sorry, I'm gonna call it, um, 700 hours. 700 hours total. That's what we spent on Annie here. And I'm going to set the game version back to the latest unstable beta here. Now I am probably going to go ahead and end this stream here, and I'm going to start up a new stream for our new character, which is Nora the Explorer. But before I do that, we're going to need a thumbnail. We are going to need a thumbnail. I went and created a template for my thumbnails for Annie Mae's journey through B42. So we were going to need to come up with a new one for that. PZ Live. And now what I need to do is actually put all of the thumbnails that I've made previously into a folder for them. 42.10.0.001. And basically everything that I have except for the tag list. Except the tag list and remove object on tile. Text files can stay. Boom. We move all that stuff out. Now, I did a different color scheme. I did a different color scheme for each of my characters so far. For Barb the Builder, I had sort of a light blue background, and I think I might do something slightly different for Annie here. Or, I'm sorry, for Nora. So this is what my template for the screenshots look like, or for the thumbnails look like so far. So 42.13.0 is the new version. And part 1, we can leave that as is. I think it's the frame that I need to change there. And I can hide the text because we're just going to use this. We're just going to use the official. Here we go. So we're just putting together a thumbnail here for our next stream before we get it started. And I think this was back in the day I had back frames here with the duration marker. That never worked. It didn't scale properly. So we can get rid of that. And let's modify this a little bit and give it a bit of a gradient. There we go. Hello. One of my colleagues at work has a question for me. I shall answer that momentarily. So we're going to save this one as... How about we do an orange frame for Nora here? I feel like orange. That's nice. I don't know if you guys have noticed, orange is one of my favorite colors. Yeah, okay, so I did notice that. I did notice that about there was a patch note regarding crawling zombies. So that's going to be interesting. I usually keep my distance from them as much as humanly possible. I definitely have been trying to keep my distance from them so far. Let's do, okay, so this is my favorite color of orange, 255-64. You guys will see that on my window outlines and whatnot. That is a little dark for a thumbnail frame. Let's do 96. Yeah, 255-96. So this will be Nora the Explorer. And do we want some text? Do we want some text? Text might not be necessary. Oh, it would have to be layered over that. I was a little bit flippant when I saw that 42.10 came out. I was a little bit flippant, which is why the text is a little flippant there. Let's just do new character start. Yeah, let's just do new character start. All right, and that will be our thumbnail for the next stream here. Save as part 1 for the current live. Okay, so I have to handle something for work briefly, and then I'm going to start up a new stream. So go ahead and check back on my channel in approximately, let's just give it like 5 or 10 minutes tops. 5 or 10 minutes tops, and I shall have a new stream going. So I do appreciate everybody for hanging out for the end of Annie Mae's journey here. It was a good one, folks. It was a good one. So we'll get started with another one pretty soon here. So look forward to that. I will actually keep my chat open here. I'll keep my chat open here. So if you guys want to keep the chat open, I will post a link to the new stream once it's live. Otherwise, I shall catch you guys in the future. Thanks for sticking.